In this video, guys, we got to clean up this breather box. So I've seen a lot of things when it comes to bikes, rebuilt a lot of them, but we got a heck of a hole here. The exhaust from the silencer and the where the pipe comes together, I think was rubbing right on here because the guy didn't have a rear mount, and it melted a giant hole. I wouldn't say giant hole, but it melted the hole and it melted the breather box. So we're gonna have to figure out a way here to clean this up. We're not gonna be able to make it look brand new. I don't even know if you can buy this part. I've been trying to look for it, but I don't think it's worth it on this bike. I think we're gonna have, this isn't gonna be a show bike, it's just gonna be a nice bike. So we're gonna end up having to do something, whether I weld it or melt some plastic into it or put a cover on it. I haven't really figured out, but our first step is to get this cleaned up. Here's the thing, guys. You can't get at these screws, and everybody's like, how do I get at them? Well, you gotta crush it. You gotta crush the rubber out of the way. And on these Hondas, I don't know if the 04 has it, but I know 02 does. We'll have to look when we get it apart. There's supposed to be a foam ring that goes in there. It's a stupid design. That's why everybody silicones them, because the foam rots out. It might have been good for the first year, but the next 15 years of the bike's life was just missing the foam. Yeah, there's no foam. It's gone. So somebody siliconed it on there, which, you know, that's what we're gonna do. That foam is it's useless. Guys have other things you can buy, but they're basically foam or rubber gaskets too, and they don't work any better. So we're gonna get this all cleaned up and then reassembled. I just got a bucket of Dawn dish soap. You guys know I like my Dawn dish soap. Stuff cuts through grease and grime pretty good, and it's cheap, and it works. Price really isn't the big thing for me, just the fact that it works. I'm just gonna soak her down with some Simple Green. Let it eat away at some of that harder stuff. We're also gonna clean the tank, the fuel tank, because it's got a lot of grime on it. And since it's a nice day and you know, the weather's here and we got the stuff out, it needs to get done. We're probably gonna clean up the rest of our plastics, the ones we need to save, like the fuel tank. I've said it before in another video, but Vim, the cream Vim, it's got bleach in it, but this stuff cleans white plastic, clear plastic, like you wouldn't believe. I don't use it on the colored plastic like red or black because I don't want to pull anything out of them, but the white plastics, this is the go-to for cleaning it. You can see this plastic, we've scrubbed it a bit, but it's got all sorts of grime. It's got a tinge to it, a little bit of red tinge there. Something's rubbed against it. So we're just gonna coat it up pretty good. I'm gonna use an SOS pad. We're just gonna, or sorry, not an SOS pad, a Scotch-Brite pad. Get it wet. I'm gonna put a bunch on it. You know, if you don't have any, your wife probably does, or your girlfriend or your mom. You know, the stuff cleans bathrooms. I'm sure they're using it. But even just scrubbing a little bit there, you can see the difference, guys. So we went downtown, we got some popsicle sticks, and we got some plastic weld. So basically what we're gonna use this for is to rebuild this area of the breather box. We're gonna try anyway. You can see the breather box is pretty melted. What I've done is shove some Gorilla Tape down in there, just some like duct tape, black duct tape. It's obviously the other way. We're gonna use it as a backing and then pull it out from the inside. It's stuck down in there. So let's see how we make out. When it comes to this plastic weld, you snap it open and there's like an A and a B, right? And they're a 50-50 mix. You can buy it in different forms. We don't need a lot of it. So we're just gonna put this stuff out. I did buy 2 tubes in case we need a bunch more. And we'll take our mixing sticks and just mix it up. You want it mixed really good. It's hard to see, I'm sure, on the video, but there's a clear gel and a black gel. But we want to mix it up pretty good. We're using popsicle sticks because we can just throw them out after. This is probably going to be a messy, crappy job. I'm not going to lie. But what do you do when you have a breather box like this and you can't get another one? Worst case, I do know where there's a breather box that might work for this bike, but we're going to try this method first. We're going to sand it all after to smooth it out. But by using that backing tape in there, it gives us something to try and fill that giant void. So it's been about a half hour, and this stuff's definitely hard enough to work with. So we're going to take a file and get a better shape on this, and then work some sandpaper and maybe an orbital sander to try and smooth this out. Let's see how it goes, guys. So we're using a pretty aggressive file here, guys, like a rasp more than a file, to really get in there and dig that out. We're just going over with some 1000 grit to try and take any high spots out. I don't think we're going to get it much better than what we've got. The epoxy's curing, but I think there's a lot of old oil and stuff in this plastic. Obviously the exhaust was here and melted in. So we're running into a bit of a concern there. If you were to paint it, but we're not painting plastic, we don't do that. We're going to clean it up, get it back to black with putting SC1 and other things into it so that it brightens up. But we're just going to try and get rid of the dull finish. So our next step here, guys, is we've cleaned the product with soaps and whatnot. So we're just using 99% alcohol. Just you buy it at the drugstore, no name brand. And we're just gonna clean the area where the boot is gonna go to pull any oils or anything like that. Like obviously there's gas and stuff over the years. We're gonna clean it up really good, give it a good scrub. With some paper towel, you can see it's pulling out a bunch of stuff. And it'll dry the oil so we can put our black silicone gasket on the boot and get it attached. So we've got 90% at least of the silicone removed, obviously. And we're not gonna put it on the outside edge. There's a hump here that rides in this groove. We're actually gonna apply our silicone to the groove. Just a light coating, like we got a really small hole in the top here. I usually like to buy them in a caulking gun, but I had this, so we're gonna use it. We're just gonna go around, apply a little bead to help this breather box seat on the thing. Man, this is a pain in the ass. Buy the caulking gun one. This one sucks. And we'll install our thing on the breather box. Try not to mush it everywhere. Where's those holes? Right there. And you don't need to have silicone oozing out the sides. This, if you put it on that hump, it's gonna seal it. You don't need to, I don't know why guys fill that cavity with silicone. It just creates a mess. Well guys, considering what we started with, a giant melted hole and a really beat up flap and everything was pretty gungy and covered in blue silicone, I think we turned out pretty good. We'll have to do a little bit more cleanup once we get it installed in the bike, try and blend some more of this in. But all in all, the plastic came out pretty good. It's a little scuffed up, but the pipe will run along here. We're never gonna get it perfect. If we were going for that perfect look, we would have replaced it. But not bad, looks pretty good. So we got a brand new clutch cable and throttle cable for this bike. So yeah, it moves freely, but it's a brand new cable. So this cable's seen no lube other than what the factory gave it. So I just have one of the cheap little cable lube jobs. We're gonna put it on. What you do with these cheap little suckers is you put the cable in the slide, and then you put the bottom of the cable inside of the unit, and then you tighten it down and squeeze on the actual cable and tighten up the top. So you simply slide the cable through the slot and make sure your outer cable is inside the unit, and there's a small hole there. And you buy a can of cable lube. What's this one? This one's from Moose. So just extends the life of your cables, all sorts of great stuff it says it does. I don't know if it does, but it does lube the cables. And you stick it in the little hole. We got our tube in there. And I like to make sure the bottom is in a pail. And when I start spraying it, it goes everywhere. The stuff squirts out. I don't know if the Motion Pro one actually works better. With there's another style. I don't know, I've seen guys use it. They just keep giving her little shots, and it'll start coming out the bottom of the cable. You just want to kind of wash for it. Now I'm getting it all over my hands. There, it's coming out the bottom now. Perfect. Now, other than the pile of it pouring down my hand, this cable's done. And you simply unthread it, pull out your cable. Now it's super loose, got lots of lube in there. It really helps the cables. So now in the service manual, guys, it shows you throttle cable side, clutch side. The clutch needs to run over to the throttle side, and the throttle runs to the clutch side. You can see that. The throttle comes over to this side and that side. We'll show you how to run them. And then there's another diagram right here. You guys can get a good look if you don't have a service manual. This isn't the cheap one, this is the one right from Honda. So, and it'll show you like the clutch cable, how it runs, comes through and actually goes through the head stay. That's a big one guys miss a lot, is that on this bike, on the 04, it comes through the head stay and down to the clutch. We're gonna start with the throttle cable. So I just temporarily placed the throttle body, like the twist throttle part, together. We're gonna thread, start threading our thing in. We're using ODI grips on this bike, so it comes with a new throttle tube. So we're obviously gonna use that because that's how they work. You simply slide your new cable. Simply slide it in the grip is what I was gonna say, into the throttle body part. And then there's a wheel that needs to go in here around the cable, and the screw holds it down. Then your throttle simply comes through. You might think this is bent funny, but it's not, guys. It's just, that's how it needs to be for the throttle. We go down around the power valve servo, cuts under, right through here, through the power valve servo. There's a little bit of space here. I believe that's how it runs. And then right down to your carb. It's got a nice flow and then a nice straight drop into the carburetor. So you guys can see the cable here. Runs straight down nice along the inside and then it has a nice straight drop to the carburetor so that there's no binding. Where'd our cable go? Right there. So we're going to take our cable and feed it through the top of the carb. Then we're going to, oh, our gasket fell off. That's going to be a pain in the butt. But that's okay. These things happen to everybody. And then we're gonna, if I can grab it with my greasy hands. There's the spot in there. You have to slip your cable into it. Just like that. And then we can let the plastic piece in. Just like so. It's gonna look all bunched up, but when it's under pressure in the carburetor won't care. All right, so we've got our cable installed. And now we'll just install our slide body back into the carb. On this bike, there's a throttle position sensor. So it has this big spring that you need to lift up out of the way. And then we will kind of hold it with one finger and drop the slide body, or the slide into the body. Like so. And it rests on top of the slide and pushes it in. And we'll tighten the screws down. So we're going to run the clutch cable, and I actually like to kind of cheat and start in the middle. I like to run it through the head stay and get this end of it taken care of first. I like to take a flat screwdriver and just help me out by opening that up just a hair, because different brands are different thicknesses sometimes. We need to get that up in that back hole, just like that, and then we'll give it a pinch to close it so our cable doesn't fall out. Just a little pinch. Now our cable can't fall out. It moves freely. So our clutch cable's coming up through the head stay, and then we're just gonna route it up through. Comes up through. Just like that. And comes under the brake, obviously, and up to your clutch. All right, we're gonna go ahead and install the subframe. We can get it hooked to the carburetor. Getting the boot on the carb is one of the worst jobs when it comes to reassembling motorcycles. So when we tore the bike apart, it had the wrong bolts in the subframe. So we're gonna put the right ones back in. They come with the bolt kit that we buy. All right, guys. Well, the 04 is really coming along. The breather box is back together. We fixed a giant hole that was on there. It looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. Pretty impressed, actually, that it worked. We got the cables ran. Now, the importance of running cables, guys, like where they need to go, the proper places, is they won't work right. Like if they're not in the right spot, the clutch cable won't slide. I have a bike over there where I know the cable's wrong and I haven't got back to fix it yet. And the clutch pull is ridiculously hard. So take the time, look it up, guys, figure out where the cables go and put them where Honda or Yamaha or whoever's bike you're working on says they need to go. It's a pretty important part. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. If you have any questions or you have any better suggestions for ways to lube the cables. I know that little tool I got works, but I don't know if it's the best way to do it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
If you got no time, work smarter than ever. Don't ever let them tell you that you can't ever say never.